Okay, we're good? Welcome, 5 o'clock. It's the July Committee of Adjustment meeting. For everyone's information, we generally deal with each application according to the order of the agenda. Extra copies are available at the back. Anyone present who wishes to speak in support or against an application, as well as anyone with concerns or questions, will have an opportunity to speak. The committee will make their decision following each application. If there is anyone present who is not an applicant or an agent but is interested in the decision of the committee, you may file your interest with our Secretary-Treasurer. Please list the file number and your full name and mailing address. Copies of the decisions are automatically sent to the applicant and agent within 15 days of today's meeting. Only the applicant, the minister, a specified person, or any public body may appeal decisions in respect to applications for consent or minor variances to the Ontario Land Tribunal. The decisions are final if there are no appeals 20 days after the committee's decision. May I remind everyone that we are being recorded and to mute your phone devices, as well as if you wish to speak to an application, make your way to the podium, ensure the mic is on, and state your name for the record. Okay, so the first order of business is determine if any members have any disclosures of interest when considering any of the applications that we'll be dealing with today. Tim.
Yes, I do. ANPL 2024130.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? No? Okay, good. All the members received the minutes from the previous meeting. If there are any errors or omissions? If not, I have a resolution before me. I need a mover and a seconder, please. Phil and Tim. Resolved that the minutes of the Committee of Adjustment meeting held Wednesday, June the 15th be adopted as circulated. All in favor? 19th, thank you. It happens. As corrected, there we go. That carries.
Thank you.
Okay. Wouldn't be a Committee of Adjustment meeting without a hiccup. Our first application we considered, the roll call. Linda and Lisa are absent today, and it appears Councillor Very is not here yet either. Otherwise, okay, he's online?
Oh, there he is.
Councillor Very, you're present. You're muted, but anyway. So we have a quorum. Okay. First application is a minor variance. ANPL 2024003 in the name of Jeffrey Butler, and the planner can give the report, please.
Thank you. Through the chair, an application has been received to permit relief in the agricultural zone to reduce the required front yard setback from 13 meters to 8.23 meters, reduce the required rear yard setback from 9 meters to 5.36 meters, and reduce the required interior side yard setback from 13 meters to 5.11 meters to facilitate the construction of an accessory structure and to capture existing lot deficiencies. The subject lands are located at the corner of Concession 7 Townsend and Robinson Road on the southwest side. The lands are approximately 2,020 square meters in area, with approximately 30 meters of frontage onto Concession 7 Townsend and 67 meters of frontage onto Robinson Road. The subject lands are currently occupied by an existing single detached dwelling, a shed, and a sea can. The dwelling is accessed off of Robinson Road with no access from Concession 7 Townsend. The property is zoned and designated as agricultural. The proposal seeks to facilitate the construction of a detached garage. Due to the orientation of the dwelling and the access to the property, the garage is proposed to be located within what would be defined as the required front yard of the property. The primary variance requested would reduce the required front yard from 13 meters to 8.23 meters to allow for the construction of the garage in the proposed location. This request can be considered minor in nature, as the access to the property will not change and the sightlines for drivers will not be negatively affected. The additional variances request relief from the required rear yard setback and required exterior yard setback. These reliefs can also be considered minor as they recognize and legalize the existing legally non-complying dwelling. It is staff's opinion that the requested release be considered minor and appropriate development for the site and compliant with the intent of the zoning bylaw and official plan. Staff support this application and recommend that it be approved.
Okay, thank you. Is there an agent or applicant present? Okay, we'll get to you. Any questions of the planner from the committee? Councillor Van Passen.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think there's a little typo in the report where the staff recommendation and then the reason. It's that the proposed application to permit relief in the resort residential zone. I think that should be agricultural zone.
That should be
So
agricultural zone,
can we get that
yes.
corrected so
Sorry
it
about
doesn't
that.
look like we're doing something in the wrong area?
Nope, that is correct. It should be agricultural zone.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Any questions? Does the applicant or agent have anything to add? No, he indicates no. Okay, thank you. So we have a recommendation. Oh, is there anybody present or online that wishes to speak to this application? Seeing none, hearing none, I have a recommendation for approval. Can I get a mover and a seconder, or Tim and Phil? So file number AMPL 2024003 in the name of Jeffrey Butler. In accordance with Section 41 of the Planning Act, the proposed development is minor in nature, maintains the general intent of the official plan and the zoning bylaw. No public input was received and therefore has not been considered as part of this application. All in favor? Councillor Berry, thank you. And that is carried. Okay, we're going to sign at the end. Okay. So I'll put them there. Okay. So next up is file number ANPL 2024125, Anita and Stephen Buhner. And the planner can give the report, please.
Thank you. Through the chair, an application has been received to construct a new unenclosed front porch requiring relief from section 3.6D of the zoning bylaw, which permits a porch to project no more than 1.5 meters into the required front yard. Relief of 3.27 meters is required from the minimum required front yard setback of 11.5 meters to permit a decreased front yard setback of 8.23. The subject lands are located on the east sides of Cluett Road, just north of its intersection with concession 13 Townsend. The lands are approximately 1,393 square meters, with approximately 30.5 meters of frontage onto Front Road. The subject lands are currently occupied by an existing single detached dwelling and is zoned and designated as agricultural. The proposal seeks to facilitate the construction of a front porch addition on the existing single detached dwelling on the lands designated and zoned as agricultural. A porch is permitted to project 1.5 meters into a required front yard, but due to the existing dwelling having a current front yard that is deficient, the projection of the front yard would be greater than permitted. The existing front yard setback is legally non-conforming with a setback of 10.58 meters, where the required is 13. So errors on the public notification noted that the required front yard in the agricultural zone be 11.5 meters, while the actual required front yard is 13 meters. However, the requested relief of 3.27 meters is correct and would reduce the front yard setback to 9.73 meters rather than the noted 8.23 meters. This setback allows for the porch to project the remaining 1.5 meters that is permitted into the front yard as per section 3.6D of the zoning bylaw. While the relief of 3.27 meters could be considered quite significant, the development on the site is minor in nature, considering the legally non-conforming nature of the existing dwelling. No other reliefs are required, and the reduced setback would not significantly affect the safe use of the site. In addition, there are no directly adjacent residential neighbors, and as such, the development would not impact neighbors negatively. In summary, it is the professional opinion of staff that the proposed development meets the overall intent and purpose of the Planning Act, the provincial policy statement, the official plan, and the zoning bylaw. It is staff's opinion that the application is minor and desirable for the appropriate development of the lands. Staff support this application and recommend that it be approved.
Okay, thank you. Is there an agent or applicant present? Okay, Dave, thank you. Any questions of the planner to the Councillor Van Passen?
Again, with the little typos here, site characteristics, it says it's got 30.5 meters of frontage onto Front Road. I do believe that should be Cluett Road.
That is correct. I apologize for that.
Thank you very much. Anybody else? Does the applicant or agent have anything to add?
Only here to answer your questions. I support the recommendation.
Thank you. He supports and is willing to answer questions. Is there anyone present or online that wishes to speak to this application? Hearing none, I have a recommendation to approve. Can I get a motion from the committee? Phil? And Tim. File number ANPL 2024125, Anita and Stephen Buhner. This, in accordance with Section 45(1) of the Planning Act, the proposed development is minor in nature, maintains the general intent of the official plan, the zoning bylaw, and that no public input was received and therefore has not been considered as part of this application. All those in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. Okay, next up we have file number ANPL 2024126, Northland Ginseng Farms, and the planner can give the report, please. Mohammed, are you giving this report? You're muted. We can't hear anything, Mohammed. Why don't we skip this one for now and we'll come back to it?
I can present on behalf if
I'm sorry?
necessary. I can present on behalf if necessary.
Okay, if you want, yeah.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right, so through the chair, I'm presenting this on behalf of my colleague Andrew Wallace. An application has been received to seek relief from section 3.24.2 of the zoning bylaw to facilitate the construction of an addition on an existing single detached dwelling that will have the effect of increasing the height, area, size, or volume of the dwelling. The dwelling is stated to be a legal non-conforming use, requiring relief from section 3.26 of the zoning bylaw, which limits the number of single detached dwellings to one dwelling per lot. The subject lands are located on the northern side of Wyndham Road 10, north of Linville. The land has an area of 99.6 acres, approximately 40.3 hectares, and is zoned and designated as agricultural. There are two existing single detached dwellings on the subject lands, which have been in place for many years, predating the current zoning bylaw. There are also a number of agricultural buildings on the site located roughly between the two dwellings. The second dwelling has a municipal address of 1431 Wyndham Road 10. The second dwelling has been in situ since prior to 2002, according to the GIS historic aerials. There are two sections of the zoning bylaw which impact this proposed development. The first is the non-compliance with section 3.26, which allows for only one single detached dwelling per lot of record. As the second dwelling predated the zoning provision, it is considered to be legally non-conforming, and the relief from section 3.26 is considered to be a technical minor variance. The second relevant section of the zoning bylaws is section 3.24.2, which allows for reconstruction and improvement of a legally non-conforming structure, providing it does not increase the building in height, area, volume, or size of the dwelling. The proposal will increase the area, size, volume of the existing single detached dwelling on the lot. Were this dwelling on a single lot of record of its own, this extension would not likely require any planning approvals to construct. Given the single detached dwelling is legally non-conforming, the extension of this building is considered to be minor. It would not result in the loss of additional agricultural land, nor would it result in any additional deficiencies in terms of the zoning bylaw. Therefore, it is staff's opinion that the requested relief can be considered minor and appropriate development for this site and compliant with the intent of the zoning bylaw and official plan. In summary, staff support this application and recommend that it be approved. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there an agent or applicant? Dave, thank you. Any questions of the committee to the planner? No? Thank you. Any further information to add, David?
I'm only here to answer questions. I support the recommendation of the committee.
Same again, he supports the recommendation, is available for questions. Is there anyone in the public that wishes to speak to this application online or presently? Appears not. I have a recommendation for approval. Can I get a motion from the committee? Councillor Van Passen. Seconder, Tim. File number ANPL 2024-126. In accordance with Section 45(1) of the Planning Act, the proposed development is minor in nature and maintains the general intent of the official plan, zoning bylaw, and that no public input was received and therefore has not been considered as part of this application. All those in favor? And then Councillor Berry, yep, that's good, thank you, and that carries. Thank you. Councillor Berry, did you say you could hear Mohammed at the previous? Yes. He's indicating yes, but we could not. And we can't hear you, Councillor Berry, either. Anyway, okay. So our next application, our colleague will step back. File number AMPL 2024-130 in the name of Tim Rivard, and the planner can give the report, please.
I'll be presenting.
You're batting for everybody tonight.
Looks like it.
Okay.
All right, so through the chair, I am presenting this on behalf of my colleague Andrew Wallace. An application has been received seeking relief of 4 meters from the front yard setback to allow for a total front yard setback of 9 meters to facilitate the construction of an attached garage. The subject lands are located on the southern side of Norfolk County Road 24 West, Highway 24. The land has an area of approximately 1 acre and is zoned and designated as agricultural. Whilst part of the site lies within the LPRCA regulation lines, the EIA was waived in this instance given the development proposed subject of this application is largely contained outside of the regulation area. There is an existing single detached dwelling and accessory outbuilding on the site. The subject application seeks to facilitate the construction of a triple-car garage to the front of the principal dwelling. This would encroach partially into the required front yard setback of 13 meters in the agricultural zone. The relief sought is for 4 meters to allow for a reduced front yard setback of 9 meters in total. Whilst this is almost 1/3 of the required front yard, it can be considered minor and desirable in this instance, given the level of screening to the front boundary and the direction of access to the proposed garage. The size of the lot would also mitigate any impact of this reduced front yard setback, as would the mature tree lot to the west of the site. Therefore, it is staff's opinion the requested relief can be considered minor and appropriate development for this site and compliant with the intent of the zoning bylaw and official plan. In summary, staff support this application and recommend that it be approved.
Okay, thank you. And we do have an applicant present. Any questions of the committee to the planner? Does the applicant have anything to add? He indicates not. Is there anyone present that wishes to speak to this application or online? There appears to be no one. I have a recommendation for approval. Can I get a motion from the committee, Phil? And a seconder? Adam, thank you. File number AMPL 2024-130 in the name of Tim Rivard. In accordance with Section 45(1) of the Planning Act, the proposed development is minor in nature, maintains the general intent of the official plan, the zoning bylaw. No public input was received and therefore has not been considered as part of this application. All in favor? And that is carried. Thank you. Tim, you can join us again.
Can you just see if Councillor Berry, we can hear him? Tell him to unmute and talk.
Counselor Berry, can you unmute yourself and talk to us?
What's up we can hear him? No,
No, we can't.
something to do with,
There's something,
to do with the link maybe.
there's something amiss in our system here. So just wave at us a lot. Okay. Next up, ANPL 2024-151, Brian Henderson and Darren Van Oydonk. I'm sorry. Pretty close? Okay. The planner can give the report, please.
Through the chair, an application has been received seeking relief from section 3.24.3 of the zoning bylaw to allow for the rebuilding and enlargement of an existing dwelling in the hazard land zone. The subject lands are located on the south side of Front Road, just east of its intersection with Hunter Drive North. The lands are approximately 2.2 hectares with approximately 39 meters of frontage onto Front Road. The subject lands are currently occupied by an existing one-story dwelling, a shed, and a detached garage. The existing shed is scheduled to be removed. The proposal seeks to facilitate the construction and enlargement of the existing dwelling that is located within the hazard land zone. The zoning provisions of section 3.24.3 of the zoning bylaw allow for the reconstruction, restoration, or strengthening of legally non-conforming buildings, provided that there is no change to the height, area, size, or volume of this building. In this case, the reconstructed dwelling is proposed to be built slightly smaller within the existing footprint, but will increase in height and volume to accommodate a second story. The proposed new footprint will decrease the lot coverage of the dwelling, which is an improvement on the existing. Comments from the LPRCA note that the proposed dwelling is outside of the erosion hazards associated with the Olfert drain on the west portion of the property and is sufficiently set back from the stable top of slope. LPRCA staff have noted no concerns with the proposal. In summary, it is the professional opinion of staff that the proposed development meets the overall intent and purpose of the Planning Act, the provincial policy statement, the official plan, and the zoning bylaw. It is staff's opinion that the application is minor and desirable for the appropriate development of the lands. Staff support this application and recommend that it be approved.
Okay, thank you. Is there an applicant or agent present? Okay, thank you. Any questions of the committee to the planner? Councillor Van Passen.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and through you, we got that same little typo in this recommendation where it's permitting relief in the resort residential zone. You must really like that one, but I believe this one is either hazard land or R1, right?
That is, yes, hazard land.
Yeah, so if
Very
we can just get
strange.
that little typo fixed for the final.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, I'm not sure what happened there, but I apologize for that.
On the reasons, it's
Should
the
be hazard
application
land.
to permit relief in the resort residential zone, and it should be either hazard land or R1.
Just goes to show you, we're going through these with a fine-tooth comb, aren't we? Yes, okay. Anybody else questions of the planner? Does the applicant or agent have anything to add? She indicates no. Okay, thank you. Anybody present or online that wishes to speak to this application? And there's an indication of no. So I have a recommendation for approval. Can I get a motion? Phil? And Tim? File number ANPL 2024-151, Brian Henderson and Darren. I'm not going to try to pronounce the name, I'm sorry. In accordance with Section 45(1) of the Planning Act, the proposed development is minor in nature, maintains the general intent of the official plan and the zoning bylaw, and that no public input was received and therefore has not been considered as part of this application. All those in favor? And that is carried. Okay, so moving right along, application BNPL 2024-081, Big River Farms Limited. Can the planner give the report, please?
So through the chair, an application has been received to sever a parcel having a frontage of 59.7 meters and a regular width of 59.7 meters and a regular depth of 71.5 meters and having an area of 2,700 square meters, and retain a parcel having an area of 19.34 hectares as a severance of a dwelling made surplus through farm amalgamation. This consent application is being reviewed concurrently with a zoning amendment for the retained lands to remove a single detached dwelling as a permitted use in the agricultural zone. The subject lands are located on the west side of North Road, just north of the intersection of North Road and Norfolk County Road 45. The area of the subject lands is approximately 19.6 hectares with approximately 219 meters of frontage onto North Road. The subject lands are occupied by a two-story dwelling, a detached garage, a bunkhouse, 2 barns, and 7 kilns. The dwelling and detached garage would be severed, while the bunkhouse, barns, and kilns would be retained as part of the farming operation. The lands are zoned and designated as agricultural and hazard land, with the parcel proposed to be severed being located solely within the portion of lands designated and zoned as agricultural. The applicant has proposed a lot size which exceeds the minimum lot size of 2,000 square meters, as stated by the zoning bylaw, by approximately 700 square meters. My apologies. This is a result of the necessary inclusion of the well that services the dwelling and will result in some cultivated land being removed from production. While this is not an ideal result, it is necessary in this case in order to accommodate the proposed use. There are no zoning deficiencies that would be created as a result of this severance. It is staff's opinion that the new lot is limited to a minimum size needed to accommodate the proposed use and will not significantly impact upon the existing cultivating land, and that the application meets the intent of the Planning Act, the provincial policy statement, the official plan, and the zoning bylaws. Staff support this application and recommend that it be approved subject to conditions.
Okay, thank you. Is there an agent or applicant present? Okay. Any questions of the committee to the planner? Does the applicant agent have anything to add?
Just from here?
Up to the podium if you like, please, and state your name for the record and push the button on the right. There you go.
Hello, my name is Jesse Froese. I'm representing, I think it's Big River Farms. But
Big River Farms.
Big Creek Farms up there. That's
Oh,
all
Big
right.
Creek.
And Sandytown Farms as well, which is the next application. Both are fairly straightforward surplus farm dwelling applications. They've been reviewed by the planners and haven't found anything that would really conflict with the bylaws. So I don't have anything else to say, but I'll answer any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone present that wishes to speak to this application? Was there any questions of the applicant from the committee at all? No? Okay. I have a motion or a recommendation of approval. Can I get a motion, please? Tim? Seconder? Chris, thank you. File number BNPL 2024081. I'm sorry, is it Big River Farms or Big Creek Farms?
It's Big River Farm.
Big River, okay, just so we're clear. The application is consistent with the provincial policy statement, complies with the policies of the Norfolk County official plan, meets the intent of the zoning bylaw, and that no public input was received and therefore has not been considered as part of this application. All those in favor? And that is carried. Oops, my name moved.
Did they shift? You think severances and variances to have a different formula?
Okay. File number BNPL 2024127, Sandytown Farms. And the planner can give the report, please.
Thank you. Through the chair, an application has been received to several parcel having a frontage and lot width of 42.1 meters, a depth of 54.9 meters, and having an area of 2,310 square meters, and retain a parcel having an area of 39.85 hectares as a severance of a dwelling made surplus through farm amalgamation. The consent application is being reviewed concurrently with a zoning amendment for the retained lands to remove a single detached dwelling as a permitted use in the agricultural zone. The subject lands are located on the east side of Second Concession Road ENR, north of the intersection of Second Concession Road ENR and Beachland. The area of the subject lands is approximately 40 hectares, with approximately 603 meters of frontage on Second Concession Road ENR. The subject lands are occupied by a single detached dwelling, shed, barn, pole barn, drive shed, and greenhouse. The dwelling and shed are proposed to be included on the severed parcel. The barn, pole barn, and drive shed are proposed to be included on the retained lands as part of the farming operation. The greenhouse is to be removed. The lands are zoned and designated as agricultural, hazard lands, and provincially significant wetland, with the proposed severed parcel located solely within the portion zoned and designated as agricultural. The applicant has proposed a lot size which exceeds the minimum lot size of 2,000 square meters as stated by the zoning bylaw by approximately 300 square meters. This is a result of the necessary inclusion of the well and septic bed that services the dwelling, but will not result in any cultivated land being removed from production. The proposed size of the lot is appropriate to accommodate the proposed use. The farm buildings to be retained are currently accessed by a shared driveway that is located on the lands to be severed. A new access that serves only the retained lands would be required and has been included as a condition of the severance. There are no zoning deficiencies that would be created as a result of this severance. It is staff's opinion that the new lot is limited to a minimum size needed to accommodate the proposed use and will not significantly impact upon the existing cultivated land, and that this application meets the intent of the Planning Act, the provincial policy statement, the official plan, and the zoning bylaws. Staff support this application and recommend that it be approved subject to conditions.
Okay, thank you. Is there an applicant agent is here again? Any questions of the committee to the planner? Hearing none, does you have anything to add?
I'll just answer any questions.
Okay, indicates not at this time. Is there anyone present or online that wishes to speak to this application? No. I have a recommendation for approval. Can I get a motion from the committee? Phil? And Tim, thank you. File number BNPL 2024127 in the name of Sandytown Farms. The application is consistent with the provincial policy statement, complies with the policies of the Norfolk County official plan, and meets the intent of the zoning bylaw. No public input was received and therefore has not been considered as part of this application. All those in favor? And that is carried. Thank you. And that's approved. Okay, next up is file number BNPL 2024102, Shermandale Farms Limited. The planner can give the report, please.
Thank you. Through the chair, I'm presenting this on behalf of my colleague, Andrew Wallace. An application has been received to sever a parcel having a frontage of 30 meters, a width of 30 meters, widening to 56.16 meters, a depth of 182.38 meters, and having an area of 7,600 square meters, 1.88 acres. And retain a parcel having an area of 40.5 hectares, 100 acres, as the severance of a dwelling made surplus through farm amalgamation. The consent application is being reviewed concurrently with a zoning amendment for the retained lands to remove a single detached dwelling as a permitted use in the agricultural zone. The subject lands are located on the north side of Concession 7 Townsend to the northeast of Waterford. The lands are both zoned and designated as agricultural and hazard lands. There is a drainage ditch running through the property. The lot has an area of approximately 41.5 hectares and is in use for arable farming. Planning staff have evaluated the proposal along with the articles of incorporation, which show that the proposed severance does meet the requirements for a dwelling surplus to the requirements of agriculture. The proposed surplus dwelling lot would have an area of 7,600 square meters, which is above the minimum lot area of 2,000 square meters as required by the zoning provisions. However, given the location of the dwelling, set well back from the road, and the location of the well, staff are of the opinion that the proposed lot is the smallest possible in this instance. With the demolition of the existing barn to the west of the proposed severed lot, there should be no spatial separation issues arising. LPRCA have advised that the property is subject to flooding and erosion hazards from the Cooper Drain. The hazards extend approximately 15 meters from the top of bank. The retained parcel will contain the drain, but the severed parcel will contain a portion of hazards. LPRCA staff can advise that the proposed application is consistent with Section 3.1 of the Provincial Policy Statement 2020. It is considered that the proposal would comply with the PPS and the OP and meets the intent of the zoning bylaws. Staff recommend approval of this file.
Okay, thank you. Is there an agent or applicant present? Okay, thank you.
What's his name?
Sorry?
His name.
Oh, we need your name? Stephen Smith. Any questions of the committee to the planner? Does the applicant have anything to add? He indicates not. Is there anyone present or online that wishes to speak to this application? Appears not. I have a recommendation for approval. Can I get a motion from the committee? Councillor Van Passen. And a seconder? Phil? File number BNPL 2024-102, Shermandale Farms Limited. The application is consistent with the provincial policy statement, complies with the policies of the Norfolk County Official Plan, and meets the, excuse me, the intent of the zoning bylaw. No public input was received and therefore has not been considered as part of this application. All those in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. Okay, next up is file number BNPL 2024-128 in the name of David and Darlene Vanderpool. And the planner can give the report, please.
Thank you. Through the chair, I'm presenting this on behalf of my colleague Andrew Wallace. An application has been received to sever a parcel having a frontage of 42.7 meters, a width of 42.7 meters, a depth of 61 meters, and having an area of 2,604.7 square meters, 0.64 acres, and retain a parcel having an area of 39.8 hectares, 98 acres, as a severance of a dwelling made surplus through farm amalgamation. The consent application is being reviewed concurrently with a zoning amendment for the retained lands to remove a single detached dwelling as a permitted use in the agricultural zone. The subject lands are located to the southwest of Hazen Road, southeast of Glenmare. It is zoned and designated agricultural and has an area of 103.8 acres, so 40 hectares. There's an existing dwelling on the land towards Hazen Road, and the subject lands have an existing frontage onto Hazen Road. There's an existing barn and shed, and the storage barn is 73 meters to the dwelling, and the shed is 35 meters to the garage. Planning staff have evaluated the proposal along with articles of incorporation, which show that the proposed severance does meet the requirements for a dwelling surplus to the requirements of agriculture. The proposed surplus dwelling lot would have an area of 2,348.5 square meters, which is above the minimum lot area of 2,000 square meters as required by the zoning provisions. However, given the location of the dwelling, driveway, septic bed, and existing swimming pool, staff are of the opinion that the proposed lot is the smallest possible in this instance. It is considered that the proposal would comply with the PPS, the OP, and meets the intent of the zoning bylaws. Planning staff recommend approval of this file. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there an applicant or agent present? Okay, thank you. And your name? Okay, got that. Any questions of the committee to the planner? Do you have anything to add? No? Nothing to add? Okay. Is there anyone present or online that wishes to speak to this application? No? Okay. I have a recommendation for approval. Can I get a motion from the committee, please? Chris? And Tim? File number BNPL 2024-128, David and Darlene Vanderpool. The application is consistent with the provincial policy statement, complies with the policies of the Norfolk County Norfolk County Official Plan, and meets the intent of the zoning bylaw, and that no public input was received and therefore has not been considered as part of this application. All those in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. And that's approved. Okay, next up we have file number BNPL 2024-132 in the name of Mary Zerbis, and the planner can get the report, please.
Thank you. Through the chair, I'm presenting this on behalf of my colleague Andrew Wallace. An application has been received to sever a lot with a frontage of 68 meters and depth of 58 meters, a width of 57 meters, and an overall lot area of 0.8 acres, so 0.32 hectares, as a dwelling surplus to the needs of agriculture through farm amalgamation. The land to be retained has a lot area of 99.2 acres, 40.1 hectares. This is being reviewed with the zoning amendment for the retained lands to remove a single detached dwelling as a permitted use in the agricultural zone. The subject lands are located on the north side of 3rd Concession Road STR. It is zoned to designated agricultural and hazard lands. There's an existing detached dwelling and outbuildings, including a shed and what is referred to as a drive shed on the lot. A section of the marsh drain is on the subject lands. It is noted that the driveway also gives access to the farm itself, and this farm access will have to be cut off, as the retained lands cannot have access through severed lands. Planning staff have evaluated the proposal along with articles of incorporation, which show that the proposed severance does meet the requirements for a dwelling surplus to the requirements of agriculture. The proposed surplus dwelling lot would have an area of 3,237.5 square meters, which is above the minimum lot area of 2,000 square meters as required by the zoning provisions. However, given the location of the dwelling, driveway, and septic bed, staff are of the opinion that the proposed lot is as small as possible in this instance. The LPRCA have stated that the property is subject to flooding and erosion hazards from the marsh drain. The hazards extend approximately 6 meters from the top of bank of the drain. The severed parcel will contain the drain, and the severed will not contain any natural hazards. Staff can advise that the proposed application is consistent with Section 3.1 of the Provincial Policy Statement 2020. It is considered that the proposal would comply with the PPS and the official plan and meets the intent of the zoning bylaws. Planning staff recommend that this file be approved. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there an applicant or agent present? Okay, thank you. Any questions of the committee? Ms. Councillor Van Passen.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you, I suspect maybe somebody misinterpreted something in here. It says that the municipal drain will be on the severed portion. The municipal drain, when I look at a map, is in the middle of the farm. I think the municipal drain is on the retained portion, not the severed portion. But that comment came from the LPRCA, so I think they're the ones who might be mistaken.
I'm just getting a message from Mohammed saying that that is correct.
Okay.
It would be, the drain would be located on the retained parcel, and the severed lot would not have any natural hazards.
And then my other question is there a second access to the farm property? Because if I look at the conditions, it says that the access to the retained lands through the severed lot shall be cut off. I can't find anything in any rule book that says you have to cut that off. It just says that both the severed and retained portions need to have access to an open municipal road. So if there is another existing access to the farm from an open municipal road, there's no need for this condition. If there is no other access, then we need the condition that they have to get an entrance permit and provide one. So, you have any clarification of those issues?
Through the chair, from Mohammed, Mohammed states that they would have to get another access. The problem arises when there are two different owners of the land. So being that one would have access through another person's land.
No, the new access would have to be created for the retained portion, and the other access, that becomes a situation of two neighbors. You can't drive through the neighbor's property, so it's not our problem. We shouldn't be putting that a condition in. We do have to make sure that there is access on the other farm, so we should take that condition out about closing off the one and put in a condition that they have to get an entrance and an entrance permit and a new access on the retained portion. I think that's the same condition that has been on a couple of these other ones. So.
Through the chair, yes, that sounds like that is correct.
So,
it should be a separate access would be required for the retained portion.
So can we amend when it gets to that point if that we amend those conditions of approval on attachment 2?
Yes, I believe you could amend that condition. Yeah.
Maybe we'll get a comment from the applicant too.
See if Mohammed can speak to
Can you, Mohammed, can you give us another try there? Apparently the link is fixed.
Can you hear me, Chair?
Now we can hear you. There you go. Okay,
Perfect.
very good.
Last.
So we've conveyed your answers pretty good, but you don't need to add to them?
So I just wanted to, through Mr. Chair, I just wanted to add one thing, that generally we want to cut it off from the severed lot for any future conflict in case there are some ownership changes. if we don't have it, then you will still have access from the severed lot to the retained lot, right? So in case there are ownership changes, then there might have future conflicts. Just to make sure that it doesn't happen, that's why we want to ensure that there is no access from the severed lot to the retained lot. But again, you're right, Councillor Van Pessen was right that there'll be a new access for the retained lot.
Okay, thank you. The applicant, would you like to just step up and provide a comment to that effect about the entranceways? Button on the right, on the face. No, on the face. Yeah. There you go. There you go.
Yes, I agree. There should be another entrance to the
Okay.
farm.
So if that condition is stricken, then that satisfies you?
Yeah, so
Oh.
the owner of the house has his own entrance, and I have to put another one in myself.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Okay. And that satisfies Councillor Van Passen. Very good. Anything else to add? Oh, okay. Okay, so just going back, that is condition
Condition number 4.
number 4,
I think so. No, this one here?
number 3.
Yeah, and then there'll have to be a new entrance put on
Okay.
to the separate.
Well, we'll make a note of that when we
Yeah.
get there. Okay, thank you. Is there anyone present, online or in person, that wishes to speak to this application? No? Can I get a motion from the committee? We have a recommendation for approval. Can I get a motion from the committee? Tim? And a seconder? Phil? So file number BNPL 2024132 in the name of Mary Zerbis. So we're going to strike,
I think we still need that. I think we just have to add the entrance permit.
so we're going to add to condition 3 an entrance permit requirement
For the severed portion.
for the severed portion of the file. Okay.
Sorry,
So-
I just want to clarify. I believe it be the retained portion.
The retained portion. So as an entry permit on the retained portion, just so we're all clear.
Yes, a new access for the retained portion.
Okay, good. So everyone, the committee is clear on what we're voting on? Okay. File number BNPL 2024132 in the name of Mary Zerbis. The application is consistent with the provincial policy statement, complies with the policies of the Norfolk County official plan, and meets the intent of the zoning bylaw, and that no public input was received and therefore has not been considered, and with amended conditions. All those in favor? And that is carried. And that was condition number 3. Amended condition number 3. And I'll just make a note here, entry permit. On the retained. Okay. Again, all those in favor, that was unanimous, right? Yep. And that was carried and approved. Okay, there you go. Okay, next up. File number BNPL 2024136 in the name of Bonnie Bravener. And the planner can give the report, please.
Thank you. Through the chair. An application has been received to sever a parcel having a frontage of 3.048 meters, a width of 3.048 meters, a variable depth of 71.186 meters to 71.614 meters, and having an area of 217.698 square meters, and retain a parcel having an area of 1,247 square meters as a boundary adjustment in the urban residential type 1 R1A and hazard land zone. The subject lands are located on the west side of Don John Boulevard, just south of its intersection with Jalen Crescent. The area of the giving lands is approximately 1,400 1,064 square meters with approximately 25 meters of frontage onto Don John Boulevard. The subject lands are occupied by a single detached dwelling, resulting in a lot coverage of approximately 11%. The receiving lands are located at 3 Jalen Crescent, just directly north of the subject lands. The property has an area of approximately 1,720 square meters and a lot frontage of approximately 31 meters onto Jalen Crescent. The property is occupied by a single detached dwelling, resulting in a lot coverage of approximately 11%. Sorry, just don't want to get lost. The subject lands are designated urban residential and hazard lands and zoned urban residential type 1 zone, R1-A, and hazard land zone. The application seeks to facilitate a boundary adjustment through the severance of a 217.698 square meter portion from the giving property described as 41 Don John Boulevard to the receiving property of 7 Jalen Crescent. The boundary adjustment would result in the giving lands having an area of approximately 1,247 square meters and a frontage of approximately 22 meters, and the receiving lands having an area of approximately 1,938 square meters and a frontage of approximately 34 meters. This boundary adjustment would not result in either property being deficient according to the provisions of the zoning bylaw. There is no development proposed as a result of this boundary adjustment. The LPRCA have advised that there are no concerns with the application. It is the opinion of staff that this application complies with the intent and purpose of the Planning Act, the PPS, the official plan, and the zoning bylaw. Staff support this application and recommend that it be approved subject to conditions.
Okay, thank you. Is there an agent or applicant present? Okay, thank you. Any questions of the committee to the planner? Councillor Van Passen.
I'm starting to feel bad here, but the staff recommendation suggests that it be approved conditional to the conditions of attachment 1, and I do believe the conditions are listed in attachment 2.
Yeah, I apologize.
Thank you. Does the applicant have anything to add? No, she indicates not. Anybody that wishes to speak to this application, present or online? Appears no. I have a recommendation for approval as corrected. Can I get a motion from the committee, please? Phil. Phil moves. And a seconder? Councillor Van Passen, thank you. File number BNPL 2024-136 in the name of Bonnie Bravener. The application is consistent with the provincial policy statement, complies with the policies of the Norfolk County official plan, and meets the zoning intent of the zoning bylaw, and that no public input was received and therefore has not been considered part of this application. All those in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you. Okay, so we have 4 together, right? How are you want to do this?
I believe Mohammed will be presenting these, but I believe he'd like to present them all together.
Okay.
That's correct.
You're going to present them all together, Mohammed?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay. I'll just run through them here. So we have file number BNPL 2024-165, 2024-222, 2024-223, and 2024-224, all in the name of Riley Ernst. And the planner can give the report, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I'm presenting this on behalf of my colleague as well for Andrew Wallace. And as you mentioned, all of them will be presented together. For BNPL 2024-165, an application has been received to sever a parcel having a frontage of 15.016 meter, a varied width between 15.016 meter to 18.382 meter, a depth of 39 to 3.321 meter, and having an area of 648 square meter. And the written parcel having an area of 976 square meter as the creation of a lot in urban residential area on Port Dover. The next application, BNPL 2024-222, and that application is to sever another parcel having a frontage of 15 meter, a varied width between 15 meter and 15.025 meter, a varied depth between 39.321 meter and 40.182 meter, and having the area of 596 square meter. The retained parcel having the area is the same retained parcel, 976 square meter, as the creation of lot in urban residential area. The third severed lot for BNPL 2024223, and that is to sever a parcel, a frontage and width of 45 meter and a varied depth between 40.182 meter and 41.62 meter. And that total area is 1,844 square meter. The retail same parcel, 976 square meter. There's a minor variance also with this application, and that is to seek relief of 3.5 meter of lot frontage to allow a corner lot with a frontage of 14.5 meter, and there is also a relief for a exterior side yard setback to 1.26 meter, and the relief is for 4.74 meter. The subject lands are located at the corner of Hamilton Plank Road and Scott Drive within the urban boundary of Port Dover. The lot has an area of just over 1 acre with an existing dwelling facing Hamilton Park Road and a large garden space to the rear adjacent to Scott Drive. The frontage and exterior side yard setbacks are currently deficient. The subject lands are surrounded on all sides by residential properties, largely within residential type 1 zone, which is a single detached zone. There are 3 applications, as I mentioned, for severance to form 3 new lots within the urban residential designation in the official plan. The zoning is R1A. The retained lot has existing legally non-conforming deficiencies, which needs to be addressed through the minor variance that I just explained. Information was provided in terms of a survey and a stage 1 and stage 2 archaeological assessment. Along with the information on GIS, it has been established that there are no constraints to this site being severed. The proposed lots would all meet or exceed the minimum lot frontage requirements and would all exceed the minimum lot area required in the zoning bylaw. All lots would have a frontage onto a publicly maintained road. Given this, it is considered that the 3 proposed severance to form new lots would comply with the Planning Act, PPS, official plan, and zoning bylaws. Since the publishing of this report, public input was received, which has been provided to the committee, I believe, but I'm going to briefly explain the concerns of a neighboring property. The issues is about an ongoing drainage concern. The letter explained a flooding situation potentially from the subject property, which is claimed be inundated with this development, within the surrounding area. The letter provided some images with the inundation of the water. We talked with development engineering staff and received some information on this. And I'm going to let the committee know about that. To address the neighboring concerns, we can advise that the building code does provide the authority to ensure the concerns raised are addressed. And these are through the building codes. There are 2 issues here, and potentially it could be 2 issues. One is drainage disposal from groundwater, and the other one is surface drainage. From the building code, foundation drain shall drain to a sewer drainage ditch or dry well. For this site, this means that any groundwater drainage creating through any kind of flooding or through a sump pump will need to be directed to drainage ditch on a square drive and not directed to the rear yard. And regarding the surface drainage, the building shall be located or the building site graded so that water will not accumulate at or near the building or will not adversely affect adjacent properties. For this site, this means that the site must be graded and treated in a fashion that does not adversely affect the adjacent properties. The building plan of this site will not include a grading plan, will include a grading plan to meet the OBC conditions. Through this application, staff also provided conditions that the lot will need to be connected with the existing legal drainage. In most cases, through new developments such this, the existing drainage situation is actually resolved and not to further aggravate the situation. So based on these comments, we can say that these issues will be addressed through the building permit stage when the building will go through and review the situation. The retained lot has an existing dwelling on site. This has a deficient frontage and exterior side yard setback for a corner lot. These are existing legally non-conforming deficiencies, which are considered minor and desirable in this instance. The severances will not result in a lot which is deficient in a lot area and would meet the 4 tests of minor variance. Given this, planning staff recommend all 4 files, the 4 severance to create the 3 severance to create new lots, and the minor variance be approved. And I'd be happy to answer any questions. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Is there an agent or applicant present? Okay, thank you. Any questions of the committee to the planner? Does the agent applicant have anything to add?
I just wanted to address the concerns from the neighbors too, with the drainage. That's obviously something.
Before you start, your
Yep.
name?
Oh, my name's Riley.
Ernst?
Ernst, yeah,
Okay.
I'm the applicant.
Okay, thank
I
you.
just want to make sure, like, yeah, we have Jewett and Nixon involved. Like, we're going to have the grading plans. That's part of the permit process. Obviously, we don't want it to affect the drainage of the neighbors, and that was one thing that I noticed when I went out there too. So that's like, we're going to address that.
So have you been in touch with them?
Yeah, so
prior?
we have a grading plan of the site right now, and then
Yep.
once we do the home designs that we're going to be planning, then they'll do their grading based
So
on
you're
that.
working with the neighbors?
With the neighbors? No, with Jewett and Nixon.
No, it's not, you're working with the neighbors to alleviate any drainage issues?
Correct,
That's
yeah.
what that's what I meant.
Yeah, we're not
Okay.
going to be draining it over on their properties.
Open communications?
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Anything else?
Nope, that's it. I think that
Okay,
was
thank you.
no problem.
Is there anyone present, any questions of the committee to the applicant? Appears not. Okay, is there anyone who wishes to speak to the application? Yes, please. Yes, please, yep. Just state your name for the public record. Button on the right.
My name is Mary Jane Scruton, and I have not heard a word from you. I'm on a neighboring property at 49 John Street, and that was a bold-faced lie. Anyway, I can confirm I have not heard from you at all. Anyway, you can tell I'm a little incensed about this.
Relax and state your case.
Okay, my case is that, as you can see from the materials I've submitted, the adjacent lands have caused me no end of problems. I have had real and negative impacts to the family property, and I believe that just the opportunity to sever the properties behind me is going to create the opportunity for greater problems, greater water problems on my property. As you can see from the pictures, I hope you all took a look at them.
Yes, we did, yeah.
The parcels flood. In fact, there are times that they just resemble a swamp. And unfortunately, a good deal of that water that collects flows on and through the drainage that I have had installed on my property, spending thousands of dollars to have that done. And it also flows right through my basement. It actually did on January of this year. And I had to gut the basement. So I'm not opposed to development. I'm not opposed to progress. I simply don't think that I should bear the responsibility, and I believe the drainage should be fixed prior to the severance. I think it just creates an opportunity for issues, drainage issues, preventing me from the peaceful enjoyment of my property. And I'm going to say, if it's not fixed, it will potentially lead to legal entanglements. In my written submissions, I've cited Norfolk County Master Plan as well as the Planning Act, which I understand from the Planning Act that applications to sever can be denied due to flooding issues, as I've cited. I've read the act, I've seen it in Cambridge, I've seen it in other locations that I've pulled, so there is precedent for this. And I want to thank you for your time and in looking at the materials that I provided. You don't know what it's like to get a basement because of somebody else's water problems. So,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you. Any questions from the committee to the deputation? So I just wanted to clarify to you that you realize that typically the drainage issues are done at the building permit stage through the drainage plan submitted with the building permit. That's typically how these issues are addressed.
Okay, can you explain to me the section of the Planning Act that I referenced in my submission then?
I cannot, but I will get the planner to respond if he likes. Mohammed? He's disappeared. Oh, boy. Can our planner comment to that or find her colleague?
I can message him, Kendall.
Technology is great. But anyway, in the meantime, I would suggest to the applicant that you work with the neighbors and the development engineering division to perfect your drainage plan and issues to everyone's agreements. I would suggest that maybe we can add a condition to the application addressing that issue that highlights the drainage.
We get comments from the drainage. We circulate to all the departments.
Yeah.
And we circulate, so that was a comment.
I know they didn't make comment to it, but I think we can circle back and add a condition to. Yes, it is. Yes. Right. It's not, no,
We should defer and get all the answers from our drainage team before we go ahead. I don't know.
okay, we could also look at a deferral if we wanted to. It doesn't appear we're going to get our colleague, our planner back. Kendall?
Through the chair, I'm not quite sure where he's gone, and as I'm not familiar, I don't feel comfortable speaking on it.
Okay. What are the thoughts of the committee? Tim?
Move for a deferral.
A deferral?
Yeah.
Okay.
I need a reason.
We need a
The
reason.
reason to have staff get a chance to, or drainage to have a chance to look at everything to make sure that the conditions are correct on the file.
Okay. Can I get is there a seconder to that? Counselor Berry, I can't see you. No? Okay. No seconder to a deferral? That fails. I need to go, we need to have a motion of some description. No, it's not. The motion is, there's a recommendation to approve all four of these. I would suggest that we add, or we highlight the drainage issues on these files. Councillor Van Passen.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think you have explained it, like the severance portion is not going to do anything. If it's left alone, it's going to stay flooding. It's when the building permit gets applied for, you need a proper drainage plan in order to have the building permit approved. That's the only way we're going to fix this problem. And I think the recommendations, when you get to the end of the report with the attachments, where are we? Like they wanted one of the conditions is a lot grading plan will be required for the severed lands at the time of the building permit application. So I think the concerns will be covered off there. It's quite typical. like I think of it in Turkey Point, when somebody wants to rebuild a house and they got to raise it up by a meter, water's going to go downhill. They have to solve that problem with a proper
Yeah.
drainage plan. So this would be no different. I know that's a little pocket of Dover that tends to, even though it's up on top of the hill, I think we've had some drainage issues in the past. And, but the only way to fix it is to get the proper drainage plan at the building permit stage. So, but I would also advise the applicant, go talk to your neighbor. You know, they might give you some history on it. They probably know what works, what doesn't work, or where the best solution would be. It's a really easy way to do it is go meet a good neighbor and solve everybody's problem at once. So I would move for approval of the staff recommendation.
Okay, and I think we'll just, if we can highlight the drainage issues and whatnot and flag development engineering on this. Okay, so Councillor Van Passen, so you're, let's go through these one by one. So the first severance is file number BNPL 2024165. You're moving approval on that, Councillor Van Passen?
Yes, I will.
And a seconder? Tim? So again, file number BNPL 2024165, the application is consistent with the provincial policy statement, complies with the policies of the Norfolk County official plan, and meets the intent of the zoning bylaw, and that public input was received and has therefore been considered as part of the application. All those in favor? And that is carried. So file number BNPL 2024222, a severance, a mover and a seconder. Motion, do you have a recommendation to approve? Phil? And Councillor Van Passen, thank you. So file number BNPL 2024222, the application is consistent with the provincial policy statement, complies with the policies of the Norfolk County official plan, and meets the intent of the zoning bylaw, and that public input was received and has been considered as part of this application. All in favor? And that is carried. And file number BNPL 2024223, severance, a recommendation for approval. Moved by Phil. Seconded by Tim, thank you. BNPL 2024223, the application is consistent with the provincial policy statement, complies with the policies of the Norfolk County official plan, meets the intent of the zoning bylaw, and that no public input, public input was received and has been considered as part of this application. All in favor? And that is carried. And finally, the minor variance, ANPL 2024224. And I think this is where we will just flag development engineering on, or you'll make a note in the minutes?
I'll make a note.
Okay. File number ANPL 2024224. Excuse me, in accordance with section 45(1) of the Planning Act, the proposed development is minor in nature, maintains the general intent of the official plan, the zoning bylaw, and that public input was received and therefore has been considered as part of that. I'm sorry?
There's no input referenced on this particular,
Oh, okay.
just the first three.
Oh, okay. Anyway, so that no public input was received and therefore, I just kind of, she spoke to everything, so I mean, anyway, so. Has been considered as part of this application. All those in favor, oh, mover? Chris? And Tim? And all in favor? And that is carried. And approved. I just, once again, I would say to you to work with your neighbors and open the lines of communication and talk back and forth and make sure everybody's happy. Okay. Thank you very much.
Mohammed's back on the line,
Yeah.
so maybe we can address this to him about how she referenced the Planning Act and about the natural
Okay.
flooding. So maybe he has an answer to that.
Mohammed, did you want to address the deputation spoke about the Planning Act and denying of applications and such to do with drainage? Did you want to address that? He's muted, Mohammed.
Mr. Chair, sorry, I was disconnected for technical issues. The drainage issue, it's not proven yet that the drainage issue cannot be resolved. And that, as I mentioned earlier, that would happen when they will apply for a building permit. So at this stage, when the committee approves it, and I see that committee already approved it, so at this stage, it is just division of loss. Nothing is happening on the land. It will be as it is. But when they will apply for a building, at that stage, the building code will apply, and at that stage, it will be ensured that the new development will not create any further inundation, or it will aggravate the situation. And in most cases, what happens through that process is it resolves the existing situation as well. So until it happens, nothing is changing. It's as it is right now.
Okay. I don't know if you heard or not, but we have encouraged the applicant to work with the neighbors.
That would be the best approach, I believe.
Okay, thank you. We have a resolution a motion to adjourn. Tim? Seconded by Councillor Van Passen.
Never turn those down.
All in favor? That's carried. That's the easiest one tonight. Thank you very much. We'll see you next month.